Cutting through the noise. Why seniors must stay alert to financial news. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin this discussion today, it's important to acknowledge the environment many older Americans now find themselves navigating. The digital world has become flooded with headlines, social media posts, and videos claiming dramatic changes to Social Security, new stimulus checks, or urgent government updates that supposedly require immediate action. For seniors who rely heavily on fixed incomes, these messages can easily create confusion, hope, anxiety, or even fear. That is why, before anything else, we must take a responsible and professional approach to separating real policy developments from the noise that surrounds them. In recent months, one particular phrase has gained traction online: Trump's stimulus dividend check. It's a term that sparks curiosity because it reminds many people of previous federal stimulus payments, direct financial support that helped millions stay afloat during the most challenging economic periods. But as analysts, we have a duty to examine what is factual, what is speculative, and what is completely fabricated. And based on verified government information, there is currently no federally approved program issuing any type of payment officially labeled a stimulus dividend check. However, the appearance of such headlines reveals something deeper. America's seniors are actively searching for clarity, relief, and truthful guidance. Many older adults are managing rising costs, dealing with fixed Social Security benefits, and trying to understand how potential government policies could affect their monthly financial stability. That's why staying informed through trusted sources, not viral posts, is more important than ever. In this opening segment, our goal is simple: to set the foundation for a clear, comprehensive breakdown of what's actually happening in Washington, what proposals are being discussed, and how seniors can protect themselves from misinformation and scams while ensuring they receive every benefit they're rightfully entitled to. Understanding the origins of the stimulus dividend check. Rumors. As we move into this next section, it's important to understand how the phrase stimulus dividend check began circulating so widely and why so many seniors have encountered it across YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. In today's media environment, information spreads more quickly than ever before, yet accuracy often struggles to keep up. Many content creators, especially online influencers, focus heavily on sensational headlines designed to generate clicks rather than clarity. Unfortunately, this approach tends to prey on the hopes and financial vulnerabilities of older Americans. The term itself sounds official, almost as if it were tied to a new federal relief program modeled after previous stimulus payments. But when we examine the phrase through a factual lens, we find no legislation, no Treasury directive, and no IRS guidance that uses this terminology. Instead, what appears to be happening is a blending or even a distortion of separate discussions occurring in Washington about tax credits, family incentives, and economic policy proposals. By packaging these proposals under a misleading label, online rumors make it seem as though checks are already approved, funded, and scheduled for release. This misunderstanding grows even more rapidly because many seniors share the same question: is another payment coming? And if so, will I qualify? These are reasonable concerns. When living on a fixed income, every extra dollar matters and the memory of past stimulus checks is still fresh. But rumors that lack official confirmation often transform hope into confusion. That is why an analytical, fact-based perspective is essential. In reality, the conversation in Washington does involve tax policy changes, credits for working families, and proposals for expanded financial relief. But none of these discussions have matured into a formal, government-approved stimulus program targeted to retirees, low-income seniors, or Social Security beneficiaries. Understanding this distinction is the key to avoiding misinformation and staying grounded in what is genuinely possible versus what is purely speculative. Proposals versus reality. What Washington is actually debating. To fully understand why so much confusion exists around supposed dividend checks, we need to look closely at what lawmakers in Washington are genuinely discussing. Every year, Congress evaluates a wide range of economic proposals, some tied to tax relief, some aimed at supporting working families, and others intended to adjust long-standing federal programs. But one of the most important truths seniors must understand is this: a proposal is not a law, and a law is not the same as a funded, scheduled payment. Right now, several policy ideas have been floated by lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle. Among them are suggestions to expand the child tax credit, modify the earned income tax credit, strengthen support for low-income workers, and potentially provide targeted financial relief for certain groups facing economic hardship. These discussions are real, they are happening, and in some cases they have strong political momentum. However, none of these proposals, absolutely none, have been passed into law in a form that authorizes new federal payments to retirees or Social Security beneficiaries. This distinction is critical because misinformation often takes these early-stage debates and presents them as finalized programs, complete with imaginary payment dates and earnings thresholds. In Washington, the path from proposal to law is long and complex. Any new financial benefit must pass through committees, budget evaluations, negotiations, and ultimately be signed by the president. Only then can agencies like the IRS or the Treasury Department begin processing payments. Until this happens, there is no official check, no confirmed schedule, and no eligibility requirements for the public to follow. This does not mean relief is impossible. It simply means that at this moment, seniors must rely on measurable facts rather than speculative headlines. What Washington is debating today may or may not become tomorrow's law, but understanding where things truly stand helps protect people from false expectations and harmful scams. Why no federal dividend check exists, a clear look at official policy. At this point in our analysis, it is essential to address the most direct question many seniors have been asking. If everyone is talking about these payments, why don't we see anything from the IRS or Treasury? The answer is straightforward, because no federal agency has announced, approved, or begun processing any program resembling what viral headlines are calling a stimulus dividend check. In the United States, every legitimate government payment, whether it's a tax refund, stimulus payment, cost of living adjustment, or special relief check, must go through a formal authorization process. This process includes legislation passed by Congress and signed by the President, funding allocations, administrative planning, and finally, public announcements from agencies like the IRS, Social Security Administration, or the Treasury Department. None of these steps have taken place for any program labeled a dividend check. What makes this situation more confusing is that several unrelated government programs continue to operate in the background. Tax refunds are being issued each year. Earned income tax credit payments continue to benefit low-income workers. Child tax credit reimbursements still exist for qualifying families. These legitimate programs create a sense of financial activity that misinformation often uses as a backdrop to make unofficial claims sound convincing, but the truth remains simple. As of now, there is no federally approved stimulus or dividend-style payment tied to any new Trump administration policy or congressional action. Any headline suggesting confirmed payout dates, sign-up requirements, or guaranteed eligibility is not based on official documentation. Understanding this helps seniors avoid emotional whiplash, swinging between hope and disappointment every time a new video or post claims money is on the way. The clarity we establish here ensures that seniors do not waste time, expose themselves to scams, or make financial decisions based on false expectations. How real federal programs work versus what rumors claim to help seniors navigate the flood of conflicting information. It's crucial to understand how legitimate federal payment programs actually operate and how dramatically different that process is from what online rumors often claim. When the government sends out money, whether through tax credits, refunds, or emergency relief, the system follows a well-defined structure that leaves no room for vague promises or anonymous announcements. First, legitimate payments must be tied to an established legal framework. Programs like the Earned Income Tax Credit, the Child Tax Credit, and traditional tax refunds are all grounded in federal law. They have clear eligibility rules, documented payment schedules, and official guidance posted on irs.gov. Nothing is hidden, nothing is secret, and nothing requires citizens to chase down details through unverified social media sources. Second, federal payments are always accompanied by public communication. The IRS, Treasury, or SSA will issue press releases, website updates, informational bulletins, and frequently asked questions pages to ensure that the American public has transparent, accurate information. Seniors who rely on Social Security or SSI know this well. Every update, from COLA increases to deposit calendars, is communicated openly and directly. But rumors about so-called dividend checks follow the opposite pattern. They often present themselves as breaking news, yet offer no official documents, no agency statements, and no credible government links. They promise large payouts but cannot answer basic questions such as how funding is approved, how eligibility is determined, or how payments would be issued. This disconnect is the clearest confirmation that such claims are not rooted in real federal policy. By understanding how legitimate programs are administered, seniors can more easily spot misinformation. When a rumor lacks the hallmarks of a real government initiative, clarity, documentation, and transparency, it becomes obvious that it cannot be trusted. Understanding verified payment schedules, SSA, SSI, and VA benefits. While the internet pushes speculation about new stimulus dividend checks, seniors must remain grounded in the reliable payment systems that already exist, systems that have supported millions of Americans for decades. These established schedules are predictable, officially documented, and unaffected by online rumors. Understanding them not only protects retirees from misinformation, but also reinforces confidence in the benefits they legitimately receive. For Social Security, retirement, and disability beneficiaries, the payment structure is straightforward. Deposits are made based on your birth date, spreading payments across the second, third, and fourth Wednesdays of each month. This system helps prevent overloading banking networks and ensures a steady, organized distribution. Nothing about this method has changed, and no new federal announcements suggest any modification to these long-standing rules. SSI benefits follow a slightly different model. Payments are issued on the first day of each month or on the previous business day if the first falls on a weekend or holiday. This ensures seniors receive funds on time without delay. Meanwhile, Veterans Affairs benefits maintain their own schedule, typically arriving on the first business day of the month, supporting millions of veterans and surviving spouses nationwide. None of these payments are tied to any new dividend or stimulus initiative. They are the regular, dependable monthly benefits that millions of older Americans rely upon. When a rumor claims that new checks are coming soon, yet provides no explanation of how they integrate with existing federal programs, it is a strong signal that the information is unreliable. Clear understanding of these predictable schedules empowers seniors to ignore misleading headlines and instead focus on the benefits they are already guaranteed. Benefits backed by law, not internet speculation. State-level relief programs. Why they add to the confusion. One of the biggest contributors to the misinformation surrounding so-called dividend checks is the existence of state-level relief programs, which vary widely across the country. These programs are real, they are legitimate, and many of them do provide financial assistance. But because they operate independently from federal policy, their announcements often get mixed together with unrelated federal rumors, creating the perfect environment for confusion. Take California, for example. The state has issued relief payments such as the middle-class tax refund, which provided residents with several $100s depending on income and filing status. Colorado has distributed taxpayer refunds based on state budget surpluses. Other states have implemented tax rebate programs, homeowner credits, or cost of living relief payments targeting low-income families or senior households. Each of these programs has its own eligibility rules, income thresholds, timelines, and funding mechanisms. They are not national programs, and they do not apply to all Americans. However, when their names and payout amounts circulate online without context, many seniors mistakenly assume these are federal initiatives or nationwide stimulus checks, fueling the belief that everyone should be expecting new money. This misinterpretation is made even worse when content creators combine state payments with unrelated discussions about federal proposals. Suddenly, a state rebate program becomes portrayed as evidence of a nationwide dividend check rollout. In reality, these are completely separate systems with no connection to each other. For seniors seeking clear answers, the best approach is straightforward. Always check your state's official Department of Revenue or Treasury website. If your state announces a relief payment, it will be listed there. If it isn't, then it is not a state program, and certainly not a federal one. Recognizing the difference between state relief efforts and federal policy is essential for avoiding confusion and focusing on what truly applies to your financial situation. Scam awareness, protecting seniors from financial fraud. Whenever rumors about government payments begin circulating, scammers see an opportunity, and they act quickly. Seniors, in particular, are targeted because they often depend on fixed incomes and may feel hopeful when they hear about the possibility of extra financial support. This is exactly why understanding how scams operate is just as important as understanding how legitimate government programs work. The first and most important rule is simple. The government will never ask you to pay a fee to receive a benefit. No legitimate program, federal, state, or local, requires an upfront payment, processing fee, or activation charge. If someone tells you that sending money will guarantee your eligibility for a stimulus or dividend check, it is unquestionably a scam. Second, no official agency will call, email, or text asking you to verify your Social Security number, bank account, or direct deposit details. The IRS and SSA already have your information if you file taxes or receive benefits. They will never request sensitive personal details through unsolicited messages. Yet this is one of the most common tactics scammers use, creating a false sense of urgency in the hope that seniors react quickly before thinking things through. Third, scam operations today are becoming far more sophisticated. Many can replicate government logos, create fake payment trackers, or even spoof phone numbers to appear as though they're calling from the Social Security Administration or the IRS. Some fraudsters design fake websites that look nearly identical to official government portals. The best defense against these threats is knowledge. If you receive a suspicious message, stop and ask yourself, does this match anything I've seen on irs.gov or ssa.gov? Am I being pressured to act immediately? Am I being asked for personal information that the agency should already have? If the answer raises even the slightest concern, it's a sign to disengage immediately. Fraud thrives in uncertainty, and staying informed is the most powerful protection seniors have. Steps seniors should take now to protect their benefits and eligibility. As we continue separating fact from fiction, it's important to shift our focus toward what seniors can and should do right now to ensure they receive every legitimate benefit they are entitled to. Even though there is no confirmed federal dividend or stimulus program, there are practical, proactive steps older Americans can take to avoid delays, maximize their benefits, and stay fully protected in the event new programs are approved in the future. The most critical step is to file your taxes every year, even if your income is low enough that you're not required to. Many essential tax credits, such as the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Tax Credit, are only available to those who file a return. Filing also ensures the IRS has your most current address and banking information, which becomes especially important if Congress eventually approves new relief payments. Without an updated tax return, the IRS may not be able to send money to you promptly. Equally important is keeping your direct deposit information current with the Social Security Administration. If you receive Social Security or SSI, outdated bank details can cause checks to bounce or be delayed for weeks, sometimes months. Seniors can update banking information easily through the My Social Security online portal or by contacting SSA directly. Additionally, make sure your mailing address is always up to date, both with the IRS and SSA. Millions of dollars in checks go unclaimed each year simply because people moved and didn't notify the right agencies. Lastly, stay connected to official, verified information sources. If the IRS, SSA, or Treasury announces new programs or changes, these agencies will publish clear instructions and eligibility guidelines. Seniors who rely on trustworthy channels will never miss important updates and never fall prey to misinformation. Looking ahead, what future relief could realistically look like? As we look toward the future, it's understandable that many seniors wonder whether additional financial relief may eventually become available. With rising costs for housing, healthcare, utilities, and everyday essentials, older Americans feel the pressure more than most. The idea of a new stimulus or supplemental payment is appealing, but to evaluate this possibility realistically, we must examine how the political and economic landscape actually functions. In Washington, proposals for financial relief are constantly discussed. Lawmakers regularly introduce bills related to tax credits, cost of living support, and targeted assistance for vulnerable groups. Some of these ideas gain traction, especially when the economy slows or inflation affects household budgets. Others stall before ever reaching a vote. This variability is why analysts caution seniors against assuming that early-stage discussions automatically translate into approved payments. If Congress were to approve a new form of relief in the future, it would most likely resemble existing structured programs, not the vague dividend check concept circulating online. For example, lawmakers could expand the Earned Income Tax Credit, increase refundable tax credits for seniors, or bolster support for Americans with disabilities. Alternatively, Congress might approve temporary cost of living supplements during times of economic hardship, similar to previous emergency relief programs. But whatever the form, legitimate relief would always follow the same predictable pattern. Congress must pass a law. The president must sign it. Federal agencies must announce official guidelines. Payments must be scheduled through IRS or SSA systems. Until all four steps occur, No claim of guaranteed payments has any legal or factual foundation. For seniors hoping for future assistance, the best approach is to remain informed but cautious. Relief is possible, especially during difficult economic periods, but only programs backed by clear legislation and official announcements can be trusted. Everything else is speculation, no matter how confidently it is presented online. The bottom line: staying informed, staying safe, and staying financially secure. As we bring this analysis to a close, it's important to step back and look at the broader picture. The circulation of headlines promising stimulus dividend checks is not just a misunderstanding, it's a reflection of how much seniors are searching for clarity and financial stability in an uncertain economy. Rising prices, fixed incomes, and years of mixed messages have created an environment where rumors spread quickly and false hope can feel convincing. But the truth is both simpler and more empowering. You already have the tools to protect yourself and secure every benefit you deserve. Staying informed through official government channels, keeping your information updated with the IRS and Social Security Administration, filing your taxes annually, and recognizing signs of scams, these are the actions that truly safeguard your financial well-being. Throughout this breakdown, we've separated facts from speculation, highlighted the difference between federal and state programs, and clarified what Washington is actually discussing. The reality is that no confirmed federal dividend or stimulus check program currently exists, despite the noise circulating online. But that does not mean seniors are forgotten. It simply means relief, if it comes, will follow a clearly documented legal process, not anonymous posts or sensationalized videos. For now, the most valuable thing seniors can do is stay grounded in reliable information and avoid being misled by claims that appear too good to be true. Real updates will always come from sources like IRS.gov, SSA.gov, and official federal announcements. Anything else should be approached with caution. Financial security for older Americans is built on knowledge, preparation, and awareness, not rumors. And with the right information, seniors can navigate this challenging environment confidently, ensuring they never miss legitimate opportunities while staying fully protected from misinformation and fraud.